The gentlemen had reached the bottom of the staircase and continued through the royal residence into a massive ballroom. Inside the room were 5 stunning crystal chandeliers, along with gold-plated pillars which held an astounding balcony overlooking the dance floor. At the room's entrance were 2 12-foot statues of famous ballet dancers from nearly 2 centuries ago, embroidered with emeralds, rubies, sapphire, and pearls. Each room seemed more grand than the previous as they walked from room to the entrance of the palace. A white-haired man spoke as the 3 men walked outside.
Here are my 3 favorite men. Good to see you're on time for once, Iscariot.
Well, I didn't want to face your wrath, Father, Iscariot responded slyly.
Tokugawa, my dear friend, how are you feeling? The old man inquired.
Oh, as best as a man can be after such terrible times. It's good to see your face again, Abraham, Tokugawa replied.
The men paced the grounds and continued their chatter, and as they talked outside, a silver metallic spherical aircraft came booming down from the bright blue cloudless sky.
What an extraordinary machine, wouldn't you say? Completely powered by air. It's absolutely incredible,
Abraham marveled. As the aircraft landed and its doors opened, 2 Avia soldiers exited to greet them. The soldiers wore pure white slacks with matching jackets that went down to mid-thigh. Their hands were covered by brown leather gloves that complemented their leather boots that rose to just below their kneecaps. Resting on their left shoulders were snow-white capes with gold stitching, and sewn upon their opposite shoulders were wings of a windmill with the image of a cyclone at its center, identifying which military branch they belonged to.
Is this an Orbital 1 aircraft?
Abraham continued.
Do you mind showing me how this works before we take off?
Hop inside, sir, and I shall tell you as we travel to the arch. The pilots positioned themselves in their seats, and with small hand gestures, the sphere in which they sat began to spin. With gyroscopic precision, the ball began to rise off the ground and into the air. The yellow desert sands began to fly about, encircling the aircraft like a hurricane. Then the air gave a quick snap, followed by a heavy boom, and within seconds they were traveling at the speed of sound. Inside the sphere was an axis suspended by magnets on which the passengers and staff sat. It would counterbalance for any movement of the aircraft, keeping the people inside the aircraft stationary and protecting them from the forces the sphere endured. In mere minutes they had reached their destination, and the aircraft now hovered above the 580-meter bow-shaped building. Down below were thousands of people within the town square ready to witness this historic day. The airship glided gently down to the surface. The wind whirled around the spherical craft, and like a feather it landed soundless. The craft's door decompressed and rose.
Anti-gravity, you say?
How fascinating. Abraham spoke in disbelief, continuing the discussion on how the aerial vehicle operated. The men exited Orbital 1 and headed towards the gates of the arch. Atop the center of the arch was a copper sculpture of a woman riding a chariot. They called her the Goddess of Glory, and she rode upon the chariot of victory. Abraham looked up and pointed at the statue and told his sons of the woman.
It is foretold that she will one day return to bring peace to the earth, and that the peace she brings will last 1,000 years.
He told them of her history, and how many believed she was the first messenger of God, the Tulku. As they continued their walk forward to the arch, Abraham paused every few feet to shake hands and say hello to the people lined in the square. He, his sons, and Tokugawa entered and walked the halls of the gargantuan building to the General Assembly Room, which sat more than 1,000 people. Tokugawa separated from them as they took their seats, which were designated by country. In front of the assembly hall, perched on a wooden platform, sat the signers of the treaty. Center right, facing the assembly audience, sat Yefimovich and the leaders from each military branch of the newly formed nation of Yizra. Center left was Alamgir and the military leaders of Hola. The session began with formal introductions of the two countries, and then the treaty was read aloud to the assemblage. After months of meetings and deliberation between the countries, it was now finalized. Emotions were high. Some delighted, others fueled by anger. Yefimovich, his speech impaired, spoke slowly so as not to stutter.
Today is the day on which our chains have been broken. We have been beaten and bloodied, but we have prevailed. For centuries we have looked to call a place our own. For centuries we have fought through the pits of hell, and today we see the gates of heaven. A promise made to us 3 millennia ago has finally been fulfilled. We have never been more humbled, nor as thankful as we are today. From this day forth, this land will be forever known as Yisra, and may those who died fighting for it never be forgotten.
The crowd roared in applause. Boots were stomping on the floor. Fists were pounding the tables. The crowd then fell silent as Alamgir got up to speak his final words to the leaders of the world.
They say this was the war to end all wars. I say those people are fools. War will never end. It will merely fall dormant like a volcano, and when the world has forgotten about it, it will wreak havoc as it always does. May the world enjoy this time of peace. May you find tranquility after such terrors. May we sleep peacefully and live fully. For I know I will, as I am a fool that believes this is truly the war that ends all wars. Let us rejoice and begin this era of peace by the signing of the Hidler-Nemtsov Agreement.
Alamgir scribbled his name on the document, and the room echoed with applause once more.